Hey, hello leaders, and welcome back to the video version of the podcast Run to Your Leadership Challenges, or Run to Your Challenges if you're listening on iTunes. Hey, this is episode number 389, and I am continuing on with this week's series, the topic of the 6 core essentials of leadership. And today we're covering number 3, the third core essential of leadership. So again, the video version is me recording the podcast. I do not edit the videos very much unless there's a huge error. So you will see some repeated words and repeated sentences, but just go with it. I hope you enjoy the video, and please share this with other leaders. You can use it as a training video or however you want to use it. Feel free. So I'm going to hit the record button. You'll hear about 4 seconds of silence, and then we'll be on our way. Here we go. Hello, leaders, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So we are continuing this week's topic of what I consider to be the 6 core essentials of leadership. I personally think this is a great series for all leaders, no matter how much leadership experience you have. Leadership is a lifelong learning journey, and you must have a solid foundation to build on. I believe these 6 core essentials to leadership provide a great foundation for all leaders. So the third core essential of leadership is knowing the big picture. Now, this may not seem like a big deal to many leaders, but let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered how you fit in with your organization, or any organization that you've worked for that matter? I mean, do you even know how your specific role ties into the overall big picture of your organization right now? If so, how does that make you feel? If not, how does that make you feel? You see, one of the biggest motivators for people is knowing that they make a difference. And one of the best ways to show somebody how they make a big difference is by ensuring they understand exactly how they are connected to the big picture of the organization. This is yet another area that many leaders and organizations forget about because they're focused on what's right in front of them. However, when you begin to look at your job from a big picture viewpoint, you should be able to see exactly how you make a difference. If you cannot see any connection for yourself or your people, try asking yourself this question. If I stopped coming to work, how would I be missed? What would not get done if I don't show up? How would it impact other people? How would it impact the organization as a whole? How would it impact the clients and or customers that we serve, or our final product? You see, everyone in your organization is needed. Everyone makes a difference and is connected to the big picture some way, shape, or form. Knowing and understanding the big picture and how you are directly connected, and then being able to explain this to your people, will take your leadership and your followership to a whole nother level. Today's challenge is this. Figure out where you fit into the big picture and where every one of your people fit in. Be sure you can explain to them how they make a difference. Be sure to be able to explain to them how critical they are for both the final product and or the clients or customers. Explain to them how they impact other people within the organization, and you will most likely see a major adjustment in your people's behaviors. Be sure to download the blog version of this briefing at runtoyourchallenges.com. And if you're having a difficult time coming up with where you or your people directly tie into the big picture, man, please drop me an email at paulgrau, that's PAULGRAU, at currentleadershipcoaching.com. Man, I'd love to help you out. And believe me, everybody is tied to the big picture some way, somehow. And we can figure that out. Hey, that's it for today. As always, thank you for listening, and especially thanks for being a leader. I believe it's truly the greatest privilege in the world. Have a great day, and until tomorrow, run to your challenges. Hey, that one felt pretty good. I mean, I had a couple little mistakes here and there, but man, I love talking about this stuff. These 6 core essentials that I consider the core essentials of leadership are throughout my years in leadership, I'd narrow it down to these 6 core essentials. And if it wasn't for these 6 core essentials, I don't think any leaders have a foundation. So a little bit of extra value for you today is, how do you fit into the big picture? What's your direct tie? If you don't know, you're missing the boat. If you don't know and you really can't figure it out, get with your supervisor and ask them, hey, how do I fit into the big picture? Where's my tie-in? Now, a lot of people just blow this off as, it doesn't matter, And a lot of people think they're like not even connected to the big picture. But I'm telling you, if you are not connected to the big picture somehow, some way, why are you even working there? Why does the company continue to pay you? You see, everybody makes a difference. Everybody is tied to the big picture some way. In the Air Force, it was pretty cool because I was a maintainer for the most part of my career, and then I got into training. I was a trainer, teacher in an NCO academy, so it was a mid-level leader academy. And I love that. I love pouring into leaders because the mid-level leaders, the NCOs in the Air Force, we called them the backbone of the Air Force. They made things happen. They were that bridge between the lower airmen and the higher ranking people. So we bridged that the NCOs bridged that gap. And I got the privilege to teach those NCOs, like thousands of NCOs over the 5 years that I was there. And then from there, I went into another training slot. And this other training slot was training C-130 crew chiefs. And they were brand new crew chiefs right out of basic training, and then they'd go to tech school, and then they'd come to our school. And we only had these brand new ones for about 2 to 3 weeks, but it was so cool because I got to brief them when they first got there, and I got to brief them right before they left to go to their base. And I would give them a briefing, and I'd say, every one of you are going to change the world. Every one of you, every one of you do change the world every day when you show up to work. And they're like, it's a bunch of bunk, no, I don't change the world. And I would ask them, I said, all right, so where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? All these airmen that just finished school are going all over the world because we were the single C-130 training we were the end of the line for the C-130 crew chiefs. Every one of them had to go through our school. And some of them we had international students, we had students in the Guard, the Reserve, active duty, and if they worked on a C-130 in the Air Force or the Air Guard, Air Reserve, they came through our school. So it was easy for me to motivate them and tell them the difference that because the C-130 at any given time is over there in the thick of it, over in the Middle East or wherever the hot spot is. If they need cargo delivered or troops delivered, the C-130 is called because they can land on smaller airways or runways. So anyway, it was really easy to motivate the trainers too, and because I would tell them that they're changing the world every day that they step into that classroom. And it was very easy for me to convince them because I'd say, hey, where's your 8 students going? And they'd be like, well, one's going here, one's going here. And pretty soon they'd get thinking about it. And yeah, these airmen that they were training were going all over the world. Now, you might not be changing the world like that, but what if, take a custodian in your office or your organization. What if they stopped coming to work? What if the garbage started piling up? How would that do for your professionalism in your organization if all of a sudden somebody comes in and there's trash everywhere and the floors look like crap and there's dirt everywhere? Everybody has a direct tie to the big picture. Those custodians make your office building and that first impression that people have when they come through their doors, that's because the work of that custodian worker. and they're cleaning up and they're doing the floors and they're dusting? What if they walk through the door and all of a sudden they see all this dust all over the place? I mean, how would that go over as a first impression of a client that's walking into your building? So you can narrow it down and you can find out how anybody ties into the big picture. If you're leading anybody, you are making an impact on the organization as a whole because you are training and you're leading 2 or 3 people. So all of their responsibilities and all of your responsibilities come down to you tying into the big picture. So I'm telling you, leadership is the greatest privilege in the world because every day we get to pour into other people. And when we're leading and we're pouring into other people, those other people are pouring into other people. So as a leadership, you can really take into consideration how your impact and your influence just multiplies. And it's so cool. If you're leading 3 people, those 3 people have families. Those 3 people have friends. So before you know it, you're not just influencing 3 people. You might be influencing 100 people. And that's not a stretch by any imagination. So, hey, that's it for today. I know I rambled a little bit, but when it comes to big picture, figure out how you tie into the big picture. That's going to motivate you and inspire you because it's going to show you how much of a difference you're making every day. And the same thing goes for your people. Take some time and effort to figure out how they tie into the big picture. And then tell them, encourage them, inspire them, tell them how much of a difference they make every day when they come to work. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell them, and they're going to be like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I do that. And it's going to lift them up. And every day you can encourage them and remind them of that. And that's where you start really seeing the difference in your team and the attitudes and the behaviors. And it can make a huge difference. So hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode and keep focused on that big picture. So hey, let's recap the first 3. The first core essential of leadership was know yourself. Get to know yourself on that deep level. Second core essential was to know others, know your people on that deeper level. And the third one that we talked about today is to know and understand that big picture and how you fit in and how all your people around you fit into that big picture. And it doesn't even have to be within your circle of influence. You can figure out how everybody fits into that big picture and you can encourage them. Just because you're not their direct leader or their direct supervisor, there's nothing that says that you can't encourage them because that's going to make your circle of influence bigger. So go out of your way and encourage everybody that you come into contact with today. That's it for today. As always, I love you all. Thanks for listening. And man, lead well today. Run to your challenges. We'll see you.